what's going on TikTok? Man, YouTube, TikTok, wherever I'm posting this. I am coming at you guys with a review, and this is not going to be a review of a book or a TV show or a movie. This is a review of a TikTok series that I recently watched, and I think almost everybody in the world has watched. If you're on TikTok, or if you're on YouTube, just on the internet, almost everybody has watched this thing. It's a TikTok viral video series called Why the F Did I Get Married? It was put up by this content creator called Reesa Teesa, where she basically just tells us this story of her experience with her ex-husband, who was a pathological liar. It's a riveting ride, I must say. I was enthralled. I was glued to my phone for a couple of days watching that series. It was crazy. But just to give you the gist of it, if you haven't heard of it, if you've been under a rock for the last couple of weeks, because it came out on Valentine's Day. She met him in early 2020, right before the pandemic really shut everything down. They went on a date. I think she had a flat tire. He came and fixed her tire because she called him. She was on her way to the restaurant they were meeting at. I think she met him online, by the way. So they was talking for a little bit. Then they decided to meet at a restaurant. So they was going to meet at a restaurant, and she had a flat tire. He came and fixed it, and they just hit it off really well. Then COVID hit and shut everything down, and she just got it in her mind, I guess, that it would be a good idea for them to quarantine together, which was crazy because they knew each other approximately 2 weeks. But hey, it is what it is. That's what happened. So they moved in, and this man immediately started to lead this woman down a road of lies that I have never. I think we've all probably met somebody in our life who is kind of loose with the truth. I know I've met people, you know who you are, this one person in particular, who lie like a rug, who just lie for no reason. But the kind of lies that this man told and the kind of crazy fantasy life that he had created for himself was something that was clearly indicative of mental illness. There was no other way to describe it. I was convinced after maybe video number 10 or 11 that this man did not have it all going on upstairs. I don't want to make fun of anyone suffering from mental illness, but it was pretty clear that that's what was happening. Some of the things that he lied about, he kept promising to buy a house. He took this woman on house hunting excursions, virtual mostly, because it was shut down. So a lot of people weren't getting together. So they would do these virtual house, showings and stuff like that. And he convinced her that he had all this money stashed away because he used to play arena football in California. So, he was able to save up a lot of money. I'm talking about almost $1 million. So they were looking at homes worth $700,000, $600,000. He took her to so many house showings, and she was always like, oh, I love this house. I love this house. Something would always happen to fall through, though, when it came to them getting the house. The primary thing is that he was always saying he was going to pay all cash on the house. And the people were like, oh, great. Who doesn't want all cash? But you got to prove that you got the cash. You got to show proof of funds. He never wanted to do that. He always said, I'm not going to show proof of funds. You have to show me that you're going to give me an offer before I show you that I got proof of funds, which to me, it makes zero sense. But, I've never bought a house before. I rent. So I don't know. But that sounds ridiculous that anybody would offer you an amount for a house without you showing that you can actually pay for it. That's just me. Maybe I'm naive in that, but it didn't make sense. And it turns out that everybody that he was dealing with was saying, no, you got to show proof. And he was like, no, I'm not going to show proof. So that always fell through. Then he started saying he's going to buy her a very expensive car. And of course, he kept saying that the car was going to be shipped to the house. Oh, this BMW, this Audi going to be shipped to the house. And the car would never show up. And she was always trying to figure out, well, why the car ain't showed up? He was like, oh, something happened with this or that. Something happened with the shipping. I don't know what happened. So he just took her on this roller coaster of just lies and promises. He told he was going to take her to a trip to London. printed out the itinerary, for the trip. And of course, that never came to fruition. She ended up getting pregnant by him. She had a miscarriage. Shortly after that, I believe they got married. It was very, quick, courthouse type thing, And after they got married, it just got worse. She started getting real suspicious. She even, when they got married and he filled out the marriage license, she saw his license, his social security number on the paperwork. She decided to run it. Nothing came up. And I mean nothing, like nothing. Nothing, like no history. So that means, of course, it's fake. But she still stayed married to him, though, right? And eventually she decided she wanted to get another job because, this man was paying all her bills, but she didn't want to become that reliant on him because she knew that something was wrong. And being that reliant on someone like that, she just didn't like it. So she decided she's going to get another job that paid more money. And she found a job, but she had to do a background check. And when doing the background check, she had to get his social. She couldn't remember what his social was before. So she gave him the paperwork, said, you got to fill out this paperwork with your social and your name. At first, he didn't want to do it, but she's like, come on, dude, I'm trying to get a better job. I'm trying to better myself. Help me out. You're my husband. So he fills it out. She looks at the social. She says, something looks different from this one. Even though I don't remember the previous one, this one in my mind looks different. So she ran it and she pulled him up. From there, she was able to find out that this man had another wife. Not currently, he was divorced, but he had been married twice. He had told her only about one ex-wife. She found out that his parents didn't die when he said they died years before. He was pretending like they had died more recently. He made up siblings that he didn't have. She found out he had a twin. She found out that he had some domestic stuff in his past. When I say domestic, I mean like abuse, like, stuff like that, from the other woman or ex-wife. She found out that, he had said that his ex-wife, the one that he did own up to, he had told her that her daughter died from COVID. Her daughter was alive and well. She finally goes to him after finding out, and then she started calling people. She was able to track folks down, called, found out more info on him, just found out that the man's whole existence was just a lie. So she confronts him, giving him another chance. By this point, they're not even sleeping in the same bedroom anymore. I think he had an injury, and the injury was causing him to toss and turn at night. So he had moved into the guest bedroom, which she was perfectly happy with because she was very suspicious of him by this point. And she went into the bedroom where he was sleeping, and she said, you never went to San Diego State, because that was one of the things he told her. You never went to San Diego State, did you? You never did this. You never lived in California, none of that. And he just held on to them lies. He would not let it go. And she snapped till she went off. She told him to call somebody to get him, send him money, do something, get him out of my house. You got to go. So she ends up putting him out. He ends up homeless, checking himself into a mental hospital. He tries to come back. She refuses. She gets a divorce from him. She manages to get him to sign the paperwork at some point, and the paperwork goes through. She manages to move away so that he doesn't know where she lives. She sold his stuff, I think, or gave it away. I don't know. But the story was riveting. It was a riveting tale. And man, if you haven't seen it, I advise checking it out. And if you've ever dealt with a pathological liar like that, you are going to be able to relate.